The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for joining my webinar. I'm sure there's still some people that are getting logged in. So we'll take care of doing a little bit of the housekeeping and to get this going so that when the meat of the conversation gets started, hopefully everybody will be online. So going over here, let's see, we're going to hide my control panel. Hopefully that works for me. I'm not a technological wizard, so I am so glad you're here to bear with me. We are here today to talk about QA Pilot, which is a fast, easy, smart way for you to manage your departmental QA. I am Andrea Zens. I'm one of our product managers at Standard Imaging, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. So really, and here are some of my lovely colleagues that I haven't seen in an awfully long time working from home these days. We ask ourselves the question often, all of us, why do we come to work each day? And really, when you get down to it, what if it was a team member or family member that had cancer, or even yourself? And we know that we want those we care about to be treated with the best there is in order to cure their cancer. So we really do focus very much on the quality assurance and the quality of the products and solutions we manufacture to make sure that at the end of the day, patients are getting the best that they can, that physicists are getting the tools that help them be the best that they can in delivering good patient outcomes, hopefully. So we want to be, and we are your partner in precision. That's who we are at Standard Imaging. So just a little bit of housekeeping again. Like I said, get this out of the way while other people are getting logged in still. Today's webinar is being recorded. It will be sent to everyone who registered. It'll also be available on our website. If you have questions at any time, please use the GoToMeeting dialog box, and I will be sure to address those at the end. And just a little bit about Standard Imaging. We are based in Middleton, Wisconsin, which is a suburb of Madison. We were founded just over 30 years ago in 1989. We had humble beginnings of our HDR 1000 and now 1000 plus well chamber and our very basic CDX 2000 electrometer. And we have grown from that to being really a leader in design and manufacture of a full suite of QA products for radiation therapy. And I myself have been with the company. I'm in my 15th year with Standard Imaging. Celebrate that anniversary in August. Nearly all of that time has been in the sales team in one form or function or another. So as I said, I've moved over to our product management team and am now one of our webinar presenters. And I'm hoping everybody can hear me. So QA Pilot, what is that as a product? So as you well know in the day and life of a physicist, you have umpteen responsibilities of scheduling QA routines, performing them, analyzing and reviewing those results, managing inventory, sites, machines, managing people and communicating with your partners in the department, maintaining spreadsheets, reports, calibrations. It's just an overwhelming list of stuff you guys have to do. Okay, that's why. Okay. So we really want to help you be able to manage a lot of that. And how does QA Pilot help you? We help you gain efficiency in streamlining communication and standardizing your operations. We provide security. We use an Amazon Web Service for data storage, which is triple encryption, guarantees 99.99999% uptime. Really, it's a very secure cloud solution. We help you maintain your compliance to recommendations and regulations by putting your data and documents at your fingertips. Accountability is an important part, making oversight and review effortless with dashboard summaries, email alerts, providing you trending and reporting. And we also, our QA pilot solution is vendor neutral. And I feel it really important here to define what that means, because in our industry, as in every industry, there's a lot of jargon thrown around. And having a solid understanding of what your definitions you're using is important. So when Standard Imaging says vendor neutral for this product, we're not just talking about Linac manufacturers. We can support a Varian, Electa, CyberKnife, Gamma Knife, whatever it may be, but we also are device vendor neutral. So as much as we want you to be using all Standard Imaging stuff, we're not stupid. And we know that you have chosen over time or have inherited devices from a multitude of manufacturers, and you still want to be able to get that QA management in line and structured, and we help you do that by being also device vendor neutral. Can't do that. Okay. So QA Pilot, as I alluded to, is a web-based software as a service. So what does that actually mean for your facility? It actually means that you have very low entry costs. So you don't have a software product initial purchase in the tens of thousands of dollars. It is priced per room. And then as you're adding them, there is a lower cost for additional rooms like an HDR or CT or an additional Linac. And so that is a much easier way to enter. You have lower maintenance costs, so that fee that you pay annually stays the same as long as you haven't really changed your product or your number of rooms, let's say. So your maintenance costs are definitely much lower. You have lower hardware costs. You don't have to invest in fancy computers with fancy graphics or calculation abilities. Some of those can get very expensive. And of course, we scale to your growth. So if you're starting as a single Linac center, but you grow to add an additional Linac at that point of that, then you have a point to purchase an additional Linac license. If you are a main hospital with a couple of Linacs and then you join, merge, acquire another center, then you can add those Linacs for that other center. We grow as you do. And we help you with your improving operational performance by being able to streamline some of this, hopefully streamlining training costs, improving your communication efficiency using a HIPAA-compliant web-based web communication. So those are all really important things. So from that initial list that I showed at the beginning, QA Pilot, what does it do for you? It really helps you with everything from that list except for things that are directly patient specific, like chart checks or chart rounds. So when you're asking yourself the question, do I need a QA management tool? We think that you can accomplish a whole lot with using something like QA Pilot compared to having lots of binders and spreadsheets and devices and so on that you're trying to manage. So with that, let's take a look at what the software actually is so that you get an idea of what I'm talking about. If you're going to talk software, you got to be in the software. Okay, come on, why are we not closing? There we go. So as I said, it's a web-based service. So here we are in QA Pilot. Going over here, so on the left of QA Pilot, you have the big schedule or menu of items that you can do. It's a variety of tasks that you need to do within the department. They are organized basically in the way that the general workflow. I need to know what my schedules are. I need to perform that QA. Then I want to review it. I want to look at reports. We have so we'll focus on those first. Then we'll go into the management section, which is really where you create all of the things that feed into the QA schedules that you would be performing. And each of these have sort of a submenu for you to follow. So there's a variety of dashboards built into the product. Starting here, we're looking at, I've got two different hospitals. They have different types of LINACs. I have already created certain types of QA schedule, what we call QA schedules, assigned to those different ones. We give you some indication whether things are overdue. This is just demo software, so forgive the dates that you see here. Of course, they are not at all realistic, but they are what they are. And from here, when you're looking at your TG142 daily, you can, right here from the home screen, you can perform. You can also go look at the list of reports, and you can view any trending that may be available. The other thing that's up here is machine log, which is associated with each machine. You can access it from this homepage. We'll go into that a little bit later. I guess I should back up and say that QA Pilot is based on the TG142 report and the tests created from all of those tables within that TG142 report. So if I'm going to go in and I'm going to perform QA, it shows you the menu of, these are the QA items listed within here that need to be completed. Notice it also is in progress. Up here on the right, we have a save and a finalize. So if I get interrupted with a phone call or an urgent case, I may have to save my QA and come back to it at a little bit later time. And I can do that by just clicking the save button. And then when I've completed my QA, then I would actually go in and finalize it. Now here, when we have the daily constancy for your different energies, your MV and photons and electrons, you see here that you have a button that says Get Results. This is the link. We link with what we call an equipment hub that is looking at whether there is data that needs to be uploaded into QA Pilot. And with the click of this button, I checked it earlier today, I don't have any new data. So if you have new data in that equipment hub, you can just click, with one click, get that downloaded in or uploaded into QA Pilot, whether that's Beam Checker Plus, Sun Nuclear's Daily QA3, PTW's device. I don't even know what that one's called. And then there's a variety of things that are going to be pass fails because they're functional tests on your LINAC. I will do the pretend, I just want to finalize my QA. Here you have the opportunity to attach a document. Say you want to attach a document for something that failed that may explain why you're going to go ahead and finalize QA even though there was a failure there. Any additional comments a therapist may want to make for a physicist. Notice they can also be made in each test, or any comments a physicist may want to make before actually finalizing it. And it also lets you know whether you actually completed everything that was meant to be done within that schedule or not. Not going to finalize because we're in process. But once you do finalize, it drops you into the review menu. And in this review menu, again, it's a dashboard that lets you know whether things are in progress, whether they've been completed, but whether they're pass or fails. For example, I'll go into this one. All of these tests have passed. It's a TG142 daily. And notice here's one where the equipment hub was utilized. They got the data. It lets you know what device they brought it in from and what those results were. So from review, notice it went from review to actually looking at that report. And again, the machine log pops up here. If you've got anything going on with a LINAC is down, or you have a device that is down, you will log that in your machine log, and you get a quick view of that here as well. So how do we actually create all of those schedules and make this function to get those dashboards and the summary views of things? You here have your submenu of things that you are going to manage, given that you have the right user rights in order to be able to do so. So you have a space, again, your dashboard of your machines. Whether you need to modify, edit anything, you can do that here. You can create a custom machine type if you have the license to do so. Users, you can create a variety of users. There's also a variety of user right. There's a hierarchy of users that have associated rights with them. And this is a great way for me to show you the help which is really sort of a wiki for the product. And you can search in here, and I had already done it. Say I want to know what my user role choices are. I can go in here, and your user manual basically is online right here at your fingertips and has lots of information about how to create certain things. In here, for example, is that grid of different types of activities and who is allowed to do those activities. So that helps you define, when you're setting up your users, what level of responsibility you want them to have. Now, you may be in a large enough institution that you have a residency program. You may want to create some special user roles. As we've done in this case, we've created a resident, but then you match that custom user, if you will, for your center to an underlying something underlying that grid. So in this case, we say a resident has the same of utility in the software as a therapist, or the IT manager actually has the same as an administrator who has rights to everything. Then, of course, you have your measurement devices. You don't just have sites and machines, but you have your measurement devices. And again, you get a dashboard. You can sort this dashboard, which is really nice, by center if you wanted to. Or you can just look at everything that you may be personally responsible for if you're a chief physicist or a regional director or something like that. You get some basic information about the type of QA device it is. You also note whether there are events for those things, and whether those things are overdue. So let's take a look at this one, which is overdue. The tasks that was created said send in for calibration. When you have gone ahead and done that, you can mark this task as completed, and then it will go away from that dashboard. While we're in here, I'd like to show you that with in preparation for adding TG51 worksheets to the schedules, which is coming very, very soon. You have to do some work in your sites and machines and, of course, your devices, whether this is going to be applicable to TG51, and if so, wall thickness, material, cavity radius, you're going to want to put in your KE-cal, that type of information if it's applicable to your chamber for that. You also have the list of energies that are available. You've already assigned those to your machines up here. And then if you have an HDR program, you're going to be able to track your source here, and when you do a source exchange, when things may need to be calibrated, and so on and so forth. Now, the real meat and potatoes here is down here in the templates. You'll see that there's a lot of templates here already. It's because we play around in our software quite a bit. Note that if you purchase the product, anything that says preset here is automatically provided as a starting point for you. And notice that anything that's in here is a preset. You may view what tests are there, and you can copy this in order to get started on something that may be more expansive for your particular department. But then you'd want to give it your own name instead of TG142 monthly. For example, up here I did my AZ test, and therefore I've got a lot in here, but I can modify this because it's my own test that I created. From your own created tests, you can also copy them. You can also choose to share them within your say, we've got Maple and Cedar Cancer Centers. I want to be able to share what I created for Maple with Cedar. I can do that. If you're a regional director and you want to spread a particular template out to your group, you can do that by sharing here. So there are a couple of new things that I wanted to go over, which I think this is where I can do it. So you basically say what kind of machine you have. That's a given. So here's the beauty of it. On the left, you have all available tests. When you get the product as a start, those available tests equal everything from the TG142 tables. And then you'll see the drop down of various ways, all of the tests within these groups. If you want everything that's in dosimetry, you just click on dosimetry. If you want only particular tests, because certain ones, as you can see here, you're not going to want all of them. Certain ones only apply if you're using a PTW device, or for example, an ion chamber and a stack of water. You only want those couple. So when you select them, they are now over here on the right as part of your selected tests. As you choose to go through that, and you'll note that, again, you start with just the tables, but then there's a whole bunch of things that have been added or created as custom templates and tests. They become available to select for whatever new template you are creating. If I wanted to add something lasers, just say I want to add, so if I chose this, it gets all three, and I have now selected those. They should be added to the very end here. Notice we have laser tests now. The other nice thing about it is just because you start with all of these things and it puts them to the right in the order that you have selected them, we wanted to make a product that you can customize to your center's particular workflow. So for example, within the mechanical, perhaps I look at my compensator placement accuracy before anything else. So I can readjust, move things within the group of tests so that they follow my workflow. If I prefer to do my safety test before my mechanical test, I can actually move that whole group of tests. So again, customized to your center's workflow. Super important. One of the things I wanted to note over here is we have added in here PIPS Pro annual tests, monthly tests. Really, PIPS Pro is our TG142 Imager Machine QA solution. I mentioned this because one of the other things that is in beta testing along with TG51, which will come out very soon with the release of PIPS Pro 5.7, is that if you select this, then you can actually do an automatic import of information from PIPS Pro into your test template, your schedule, and get that information populated. So let me take a quick minute here to show you what that might mean. I'm going to pop back over here to schedules. I think I went and added it to this one down at the end because I did not rearrange things. And this is a very long list of QA that we have here. But notice we have leave speed. We have the PIPS Pro import information here, comb beam, CT, so on and so forth. So what does that mean? It means when I'm in PIPS Pro, I make sure that I have my machine configured correctly. I've got my true beam. You go over here to show a dashboard, and that populates, here's all these tests that we ran. Did those results pass, alert, or fail? And we have a QA pilot portal now. I had already imported these two, so I'm just going to select. You can also select all, but I'm going to select these, and I'm going to say QA pilot upload. Oh, shucks. Sorry, this is only the time. I did a partial upload before, so it might not let me do it a second time because it's meant to be monthly QA and it's already done. But this gives you an idea of what's going to come over into the actual software when you do it. There, like I said, there were a couple tests I had done. So here, well, of course, now I'm not there. These are the ones that I had imported previously. So it's just not going to let me do that a second time. But that gives you an idea of how that actually works. So that's really exciting. Back into manage. Once we've created those templates, then you want to do your schedule configuration. So again, you get back to your dashboard of these are my centers. These are the tests that already exist. I want to add something to my QA schedule. I can choose who it is that has access to perform this QA. I'm going to make it active. I get to choose how often I want it done. I can choose a particular day of the week I want it done. I can show a number of days I have to complete it, and I can show how many how many overdue days do I want it to start appearing as on the dashboard as it's now overdue. So that's really nice. And then you can, once you've done that, you basically, what is it I'm selecting? Maybe I said it's my TG142 preset. Okie dokie. And down here, I would add it to the schedule. Oh, I didn't select who was going to do it. So it's monthly, we'll just mark a physicist. And there we go. We can add that to our schedule. Easy peasy. That's the way we like it. The other thing that's down here in Manage is the machine log, which is also over here on our menu. And as I mentioned, this is a really nice feature, because when you think machine log, I'm thinking about my LINAC, and if I have my LINAC goes down and I need to notify and I need to track what's going on for it to get serviced, you can do that here in the machine log. But the beauty of this is that you don't have to limit yourself to using it for just your LINAC. You could also use it for your QA devices. And right here, we're on the standard imaging. I need to send in my beam checker. It's 4 years old. I want to double check and extend my warranty or something like that. I want to send it into support. By putting in this contact information here, once you create an actual event, it will email support at Standard Imaging automatically if you set it to do so. You can also put in a phone number, put in your account number with that manufacturer in order to simplify and speed up any issues you might have getting the help that you need. And then we just have a very quick and easy add a vendor button up here in order to put any information in there that you want, all that information that'll appear on the dashboard. You can add your room equipment. Oh, we need to go. Okay. Whoops. I went back. So whatever. If I go back over here to machine, we can see what's already set up. So for example, we have lasers and beam checkers set up in this one. We set up different types of categories. You can add categories. You can add custom fields. Sometimes you want to add a field or a status field to be able to say, like I added in process, so that you can update those things periodically and make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. You're staying on top of it and you get to see what's going on. And again, like I said, when you're up in review, you have any of your outstanding machine log issues right there front and center for you to go over. So now to talk about some of the other fantastic features of the software that are unique to the software. In addition to the machine log, one of the great things we have in here is documents. Documents is pretty awesome because you can upload literally any type of file, whether it be an image, a spreadsheet, a PDF, whatever it may be. You can give it a type, a procedure, a calibration, whatever it may be, tagged, and you can also version those. So if I have a procedure that I have a new version that is released, I need to communicate that with my team or the department. So here you can actually go in here and say, I'm going to communicate that there is an update to this procedure. You can choose who it is that needs to see this update. Probably anybody within physics, maybe the owner as well wants to know. You can also choose which people within, which centers and which roles within those. Notice because I picked physics administrator and owner, it automatically chose those down below. You give a sign-off date, any type of sign-off message you want. And again, that's something that's going to email notify people as you set up the user's email address. And you're going to be able to track whether people have signed off on it or not. Documents is also wonderful in the fact that, like I said, help you with things like audits. You don't want an auditor necessarily digging into every binder and that you have in your department. So if you know an audit's coming up or an accreditation process is coming up, you can upload any and all types of files that you may need to here, and then you can create them as a guest and they can view these documents, but they can't touch any of your baselines or touch any of your schedules or anything like that, but they can at least view the reports that are here, view any documents that are in here. That's really nice. Analysis, I don't have any data in here, unfortunately, but the whole idea of this is if you have multiple locations or multiple machines that you're doing exactly the same QA on, on a monthly basis, weekly, whatever it may be, you can then compare what the data looks like from various machines. Like I said, I don't have any data in here, but it gives you some of the mean, median, maximum values on what's going on with the machines. It helps you figure out whether you're tracking with the rest of the machines in your group. It may be just another way for you to identify any problems that you might have with one machine or another and get those looked into on your schedule instead of, oops, we're out of tolerances, we can't treat patients, that type of thing. So extremely useful if you implement it. One of the other unique things we have in here is incidence learning. So this again is a way for you to have an eye on process improvement for your department. You can collect those good on us, we caught a good on you, you caught it, you can give a person, the reporter a gold star for catching it. You can have a full description, which you can then review as a team or with the administrator, or however that may work for your group. But that should really, having an eye on that and utilizing that really helps you with your process improvement over time. Again, because we always are looking at the best outcome for our patients and what may we be able to do to move that along. Or in this weird period we're in with COVID-19 right now, between incidence learning and the document section, that may really help you communicate with your team what's going on, any issues that are up, or here, let's share this information so that we are continually improving our processes, improving hopefully our treatments and our outcomes for our patients. So the one last thing that I didn't really show you, I will go over here because again, like I said, it's in development, is the TG51 worksheets that will be available soon. So it is per energy. So we'll go into one here again, which is in progress. So you can see what's involved in that worksheet. You're going to put in what energy. If there are more than one person actually doing the QA, everything's date and time stamped by the person who's performing any type of QA. So I'd already be in there. It would be adding, on the report. So it would be adding if another physicist was involved in doing the TG51, your reason for that. And again, notice for each of these, you can add comments. Really wonderful. In this case, I chose my A19. It was the only thing I had available. I chose my electrometer. That brings in the information from that device management section in order for us to start, to have the information about what we're using. Then there are certain things, notice there are certain fields which are already set in here, but then there are things that are editable, like my collimator angle, my MUs, my MU rate. Then you have the spaces to put in your values that you need to, your place for your temperature and your pressure, and those factors. And then you put in your electrometer readings. If you're here, it's set up to do 4, but right now I'm looking at, I'm only doing 3, and then I'm gonna put in, 21.42, whatever my next readings are, and it's going to calculate that average over here. Correction factors, again, these are pulling in, are calculated, my understanding from the spreadsheet. And then you get your calculated dose. And then down here, if what you're getting doesn't really fall in line with what you expected, there is a place, okay, that means I need to go back to my LINAC, I need to make some type of adjustment, and you want to record what that adjustment is that you have made so that you know what's going on. and then get an adjusted read. I put in something weird somewhere. Sorry. This, of course, would not be normal. So we're not going to finalize that because I didn't do everything. So that really, and then we're just going to leave this page. I'm not saving anything. Again, you're going to go over to your review. Let's go into one that's been completed so that you can see we had a couple of people in here doing this, all of the information that was unutilized. And I have now recorded my TG51 right in QA Pilot. So that is my quick overview. I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint for just a tick. And just say thank you for being on this webinar with me today. I'm going to double check here for questions momentarily, but I do want you to know that there's further information on our website. There's a wealth of information on our website. I should also note that we have created a customer portal and released that to the world. So if you haven't created an account on there, do so, because that also gives you lots of access to lots of information about the equipment you already own from Standard Imaging, as well as user manual, tech notes, things that you need that can really help you out. If you have further questions for me that don't get answered today, then you can always email me. If you want a further in-depth, a more in-depth view of the product, we can set up an individual webinar, or if you're the only person from your entire team that's on the webinar today and you want them to hear this information, let's get that scheduled with your regional account manager. And I just want to give a little plug for my colleague Hugh, who will be going over PIPS Pro TG142 Imager and Machine QA for you next week. Now, I'm going to go over to the questions and see if I can see any. Hang on, I'm not used to doing this. Can you access and use the software from a mobile device? It is a web-based application. It's been a long time since I've actually tried it. So I believe that there's an app, but that is something I will double check and get back to you about. But you should be able to, because it is a web access program. Oops, hang on. I don't know how to expand this. Hang on. Here we go. Can you change the frequency of imaging? Of course. Any of those things. So like I said, we have them. There are presets that come with it, but you can create anything you want, whether it be an ad hoc basis, a bi-weekly basis, whatever it is that you want to create, whatever frequency it is you want to create, you can do that. And like I showed you in there, you can say how many days, until it's due. And then when it becomes overdue, and it'll let you know on your summary page whether something's coming up or whether something's overdue. Okay, so other than that, it was just letting me know you couldn't see my screen and stuff. So I think those seem to be the only two questions I have right now. So if you're like me, though, you're going to have questions as soon as this is over. Email them, not a problem. Super happy to help you out. And other than that, I am going to be respectful of your time and wish you a fantastic day and end this webinar now. Everyone stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy. We're here for you in any way that you need our support. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.